friend from about 10 to 15 years ago. He was just a very good encourager to me. He would see things that I was trying to do, and when at one point when I was trying to break into academia as a professor, he was encouraging me along with some other people. And but he warned me too. He said, Thom, you've got to be careful around here. If you're a nail in a deck, and if the nail sticks up above the deck, it's going to get hammered down. But then he said, Thom, they shouldn't be using their best nails for this deck. And he was talking about me. And this guy was so nice, and he was very smart, and he had trouble getting published because he didn't have a PhD, but he was always thinking deeply about math, and I loved him for that. But there have been times where I've checked out in my career and got slapped for it. There have been times where I was doing amazing contributions and got slapped for it. I was talking to someone very dear to me this morning over LinkedIn messaging, and I just continue to be amazed at how people act out badly when they're injured, and jealousy is a form of injury. And I could talk the whole time on just how strangely people can react because they're injured. There is one story I like to share that I heard from an old brother. He loved to collect bear stories, bear attack stories. And they're very rare, by the way. Bear attacks are a very rare thing, but he just loved to collect these stories. And one guy, he carried in the woods where there were a lot of grizzly bears, a 50 caliber gun. Now, for those of you that have never seen one, it's like a cannon that you hold in your hand. It's just a giant gun. And a bear, somehow he crossed paths with a bear the wrong way, and a big male grizzly came up on him, and it was just right over him. And his mate was with him. And he shot that big grizzly bear in the chest with that 50 caliber gun. And what's interesting, now, by the way, it's rare for a grizzly to go down right away, even if it's hit with a gun that big. But that grizzly, just in its frustration and reaction to that massive pain in its chest, turned around and attacked its mate. What? Why did it do that? It's just an illustration, though, for us. What I'm trying to say is, when people are injured, because life can be hard, humans can be mean to each other, people act out in strange ways. And it's important to remember that. Sometimes I know I can react in anger when I see people being rude. Think, hey, that's a fellow human being you're talking to. And, we're all on a journey. We're all learning things. Life can be hard. Things can be embarrassing. We're all struggling to learn things. Even if life was perfect for us, human to human wise, we're data scientists. We're in a hard field. It's challenging. It's a challenge to master this stuff and get good at it. So when you're in that struggle and someone says something that undermines your confidence, that can make it especially difficult. And I want to borrow the wisdom of control system design right now. What does a controller do? It's got a pure goal. It says, okay, you want the system to be at this set of states, and the system's currently at these set of states, and there's an error. And it works constantly to very carefully bring the system to those desired states. But a really good control system design is also built to reject noise and to deal with disturbances. And so I want to encourage you all to act like a control system. Start with your why, like Gio taught us last week. Have your vision statement and ask yourself, I'm receiving some input now, and it's not very pretty. It's not very nice. How do I process this? And I want to ask you, look for the pure truth in what's entering your system. Is someone falsely praising you just to get on your good side? React nicely, but just say, no, that's not correct. Is someone saying something harsh, but there's some truth to it, even just a little bit? Grab it and have a spirit of, you know, I wasn't seeing that. Thank you for it. And go off and add it to the things that you're working on growing at, because we're all on a path of growing, right? But we need to be like a good controller. We need to filter out the noise. We need to look for the truth, and we need to remember, here's the state I want to be at. Here's the state I'm at. What can I do in this moment, in this day, in this week, in this month, in this year to get to where I want to get to? And that's what I wanted to encourage you about. I wish I could help you guys avoid all the hard lessons in life, but now that I look back, and even how hard I tried to avoid hard lessons by listening to regrets from older people, I realize now looking back, oh, these young friends of mine, they're going to learn hard lessons. All I can do is hope to help them know how to deal with their hard lessons more, not avoid them. So that was the encouragement I wanted to give to y'all today. And on my systematic Saturday post that will go out after our meeting today, I've already started to write it. This is a lot of what I wanted to say in the growth model, but I'd like to just shut up, let others contribute, let others bring, by the way, this is a very safe place. And if there's a hard situation you're dealing with and you want to share that, fine. If it's too personal and you want to talk to anyone that's here that you've grown to love and trust outside of this, because I should warn you, we are YouTube live now, and I you know, it depends on how broadly you want to air your challenges, right? But I want to encourage you too, that difficult situation of yours that you share is so helpful to so many more people than you could imagine. So your courage will likely be appreciated, but no pressure. And again, I just want to be quiet now and see what would you guys like to add to this? Are you going through a challenging thing and we can all help you figure out how to deal with it better? Let's start in from there.
I would like to thank you so much for sharing that, Thom, because it's very, very important to achieve our goals. Sometimes it's not easy. We don't do it in an easy way, and we get hurt for with some comments or attitudes for other people. And there is an exercise that I used to do to understand what happened when at this moment, I would like to be at the other side to reflect about what you have said. So I remember that I had a manager who was always, when I got an idea and I share an idea, he used to tell me, no, Giovanna, no. The answer is no. Okay, at the beginning I said, okay, maybe because I'm new, maybe he doesn't know how I work. Okay, it's okay. But along all the year, he always said, no, Giovanna, no. He said, okay, I was thinking, because I always try to keep the positive side of the things. I always said, I'm gonna prepare a t-shirt, say, no, Giovanna, No, in a way, no. But it was just my imagination. But I was trying to, because I didn't, I felt bad because I did an experiment and I shared my idea with another colleague. And I say, please, if you like this idea, could you share this idea during the meeting? And he said, yeah, but it's your idea. Why do you want me to share the idea? I said, no, because I would like to hear this idea from you. I say, okay. So he shared the idea and my manager said, excellent. No, we have to do this. I said, oh my God. So I start thinking, I don't have to say that what I was thinking about. So I did an exercise for myself to overcome from this situation because it wasn't nice to be part of a team when your manager didn't consider your opinion. So I realized that anytime that I communicate with someone, my words or my tone of voice cause an effect in the other person. Because when my manager talked to me, the tone of voice and the words weren't so nice. So I decided to do this exercise. So this is a piece of sheet, the paper. And every time that when we talk and maybe we are angry or we are disagree with something and our tone of voice is not so nice or our words are not so nice, it's like we are doing like this with the other person, something like that. Because in that moment we have an emotion inside of us and we are trying to make the other person feel our emotion. But at a certain point, maybe we realize that we are doing something that is not correct, or we are saying things that maybe just because of the moment I'm just telling, but I really don't feel that emotion. But in that moment I start just talking. So I try to repair the situation, and I try to come back to the real state of the paper. But it's not easy, because do you think that this paper is going to be the same from the beginning? So no, because this paper is not so nice as it used to be at the beginning, right? So when we say some words, when we transmit some negative emotion to other people, it's not possible to go back, because they are going to remain in the other person. Maybe the other person is like, okay, don't worry, I understand that it was just a moment. But at the end, you can say, okay, I thought that I was special. I thought that you respect me, but I can't think that you could tell me that kind of words or in the way that you talk to me. So we have to be careful every time that we communicate with other people, that we talk with other people. Remember this paper. I always do that, because sometimes we get involved in an emotion and we set things on with our tone of voice or our the way that we communicate. But we need to remember always this paper. Just remember this paper. This is my secret. Every time when someone tell me something that I don't like, or something that I believe is not fair, before open my mouth, I remember always this paper. So remember, everything that you say is going to remain in the other person.
Yeah.
That's really excellent.
Can I be the devil today? Okay, I will comment. I will make two comments. The first one is about the paper. First, I totally agree with Giovanna, but I want to see the other side. Let's say, if you are stressed and according to that, with some, let's say, bad tone of voice or bad words or bad no, okay, it depends on your personality to be yourself as this paper or to be as a nice artwork, just like you consider yourself as a rock and you are start making something on it. Our personality, it's not only the good part of it, it's how we are shaped with the bad part, how we are shaped with the bad experience that we are feeling. For example, this manager, your manager, by the way, this is one of the biggest mistake. Don't consider your manager your friend. This is something I have to tell. Okay, you have to be more defending mentality here. But okay, at the end, this manager, with your Giovanna, with your experience, with your brilliance, you get something positive from it. So right now, you by yourself, you don't think about yourself as a paper. You become something more important. You make piece of art from this no that's happening to you. This is the first comment. I'm talking about the mentality. That means it's very challenging to have this refuse from your manager or from your environment, but this rejection, it might help you to do best, to do the best. This is the first. And the second thing, it's when you have the authority. In fact, the authority, the pure authority, it's a pure disaster. Okay. So, and this is the problem of the management. Sometimes because they have the authority, they think that they are able to do whatever they want. And also they are afraid to lose this authority. So, but when you have the authority, I just want to be on that place. And in fact, I was a manager many times in my life. It's not only with my company, even when I was employee. There's something we you used to say, okay, it's you are using 21 muscles from your face to show that you are upset, and only 4 muscles just to spank the person. No, to spank you. Okay, this is how the manager think maybe. Why I want to be the devil, because the life is very stressful. Nobody can take, even if you try to be very positive, and yes, to go ahead with this, or maybe you will face something bad. I will go from one mistake that I made. In the previous company I was working on, we were in very important meeting with the client. Our CEO was there, and I am the software development manager, so I'm the second person on that table. And we have the client. The client is very upset. And by the way, it's not our mistake. We was doing good, but okay, he paid the money. No issues about that. So let's say literally, he eat our CEO. Our CEO didn't appear. So I asked for break, and I helped in solving the issue. Okay, and in fact, the meeting goes well after that. Let's say 15 minutes of, let's say, of shouting on us, and then we continue for 1 hour, and we deliver the project, and we go to the next step, and that was perfect. In fact, by myself, I was thinking that I'm helping my manager, my CEO, my boss. What happened, after 1 month, I lose my job. Why? Because he is also employee. He was afraid that will be reported to the owner or to the other party. So sometimes you don't know if you are doing good or not. Sometimes you don't know what is the mentality that, okay, it's not easy to understand these people. But what is the lesson learned from my side? I didn't, maybe it was easier for me. It was better for me at that time to keep it as it is, and then go to my CEO and please tell me, give me your wisdom, and I will do whatever you want. And I will stay working. But I will tell you something more important. At that time, I didn't have a chance to meet all of you, by the way. So I get the award from other side. So just to summarize my point is, not always easy to understand that you are doing good or not. Sometimes it's very challenging to understand really this is real no or not from your manager. This is real no or not from your team members. And how to deal with it is not easy, really. So this is my point only.
That's great. One thing I want to point out what I loved about what Gio was saying is it has to do with what happens to others when we say these things. But as I watched her wadding up that paper, I kind of felt like, no, don't do that to me. And what I started out with was more like, how can we keep our piece of paper from getting wadded up? It's not easy. And when we do get injured, it's important to take time to process it, to understand, I just got injured. I need some time to heal. That's okay. And having a spirit of growing in skill at injury recovery is important. When we discover a weakness, it should be a spirit of, because someone was harsh to us, we realized there was some truth in what they were saying. We can have a spirit of, well, I don't need to be injured by the fact that I need to grow in that area. I have to grow in a lot of areas. Now, based on our vision statement, like Gio was saying, and staying aligned with that, do I put that at the top of my list of things to work on now, or do I just put it on the list? And then, so we can grow in skill at keeping our paper from being wadded up when people are mean to us. But also, what I loved about what Gio was sharing is the spirit of saying, don't wad other people up. And then what I loved what you were saying, Rafe, is how we can bring these practical things we're sharing with one another to the workplace, and understand that, you know, sometimes we get punished for doing the right things. It's sad, but we can even grow from that.
Yeah, thanks. I wanted to add, like what Gio was telling. So basically, this happens whenever you hear some negative things from your peers or from your superiors, and you want to react. You know that what they are saying does not make so much sense, but I feel you should delay your reaction. You should think before you what you want to say, because as we are saying, once you tell something, once a word comes out of your mouth, you can never take it back. So just take a break. Just tell, okay, I'll get back to you, and that has helped me personally, because I also have a lot of heated arguments. So when it is coming from that side, I just tell, it's just give me some time. I'll look into it and I'll get back to you. And that always happens on an email as well. So it's always told that you should never reply to an email when you're and when in that moment. You should, even if you type it, take a break, go for a walk, come back and see what you have written, and then your perspective will change. So whatever we have said, I feel the main thing is you can react, as Gaith also mentioned. Maybe he is correct or you are correct, but you think about it. You put your feet in his perspective and think, why is he telling you like this? So that delayed reaction will give you time to think about it from the other side also, and then you can frame your answer or your email. So that was my inputs in this thing.
I think this is important, Arshad. Yes, I agree with you, especially as I told you, when you have pure authority, when that, which is always happened or most of the time, when the work environment is more about authorities, and it's evaluated by authorities, not by, let's say, achievements somehow, or let's say. So yes, you have to think twice. But again, let's do it on the other side. Are you able to really accept the wrong, even you manage it, let's say you look for this matter from all of the point of views, and then you find it's only for personal reason for one person, they are dealing like this. So are you able to accept this, even if it's wrong? It's totally wrong for the company, it's totally wrong for your work. Are you able to accept this? And by the way, don't forget the challenge of the authority.
So if you want to keep your job, you have to accept it. And if you have any other offer, you can say no. Because you cannot argue
Maybe
with it.
okay. Now this is a lesson I learned very late, because right now each time I say I will do that, but I am unable to do it. Okay, this is something. Yes, maybe if you want to keep your job, you have to accept it. Maybe.
Yeah, go.
Okay, thank you. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, thank God this time I'm audible. So yeah, I would like to add another perspective. I had worked for 4 years in the energy sector, and I have met with my share of what you call managers and bosses. One thing, like I first would like to tell the incidents. Like there were multiple incidences. What happened, like Gio was saying, when we join somewhere and when we have a lot of ideas initially that this can be done, that can be done, and this can be good for the company. Normally, you tend to get a no from the manager. Normally, that I have seen, and you tend to think that are they stupid or what, that they don't understand that this is going to benefit them in the long run and all those things. So I was also at the receiving end most of the times, and I had the same kind of feeling. But I would just add another perspective to it, that sometimes the senior person or whoever is talking to you or telling you something might be more experienced than you and have a different what do you call it, viewpoint to the whole situation that you might not have even developed by that point of time. And the other thing that normally happens is every person has been brought up in a different kind of environment, so they have had a different set of friends, families, and how they talk about things and how they reciprocate their feelings are completely different. So it is very much possible that sometimes the manager not sometimes, like some of the manager may be more rude in what they are talking about, and some of them might be sugarcoating those things and then telling them, although it feels good when they're sugarcoating, you don't get hurt. But yeah, that is what they are like. They are human beings and they have different what you call source like they have different ways of expressing themselves. So normally what I used to do, like at the end of 4 years when I was leaving my job, at that stage of time, I actually got that viewpoint. I developed that viewpoint from where he was initially telling me. Although I won't say that I agreed with how he had reacted or how he had said it to me, but I realized why he was saying it. If I was in his shoes, maybe I would have done it in a better way, or maybe I would have said it in a more, I don't know, easier way to the other person. But yeah, that is what I had realized.
Yeah,
That's really great.
so can I
Yeah.
add something, because what Shantanu
Can
has
I
said is very interesting, but I just wanted to remember something, because it's okay, and I think it's a good learning to understand why our managers and bosses are telling the things, because what they know things that we don't know. That's the I think the main point. Uh, but I always try to bring the soft skills here. So I think it's like okay, you have a position inside the company and you want to grow as a person, as a professional. And for example, if you want to grow as a leader, you need to know that the way that you communicate, the way that you uh, transmit the message from the other levels of inside the company is important, because you can say the same message in different ways. So it depends what is the option that you select in this moment, because maybe the situation, because it depends. No, if it's an emergency, maybe this leader hasn't time to think about how to say this in a beautiful way. Okay, I understand that, but I think that we always need to think and feel that if I want to be a leader, but because this happens a lot, we have the managers and the bosses, and then have the authority, but they sometimes they don't have the leadership, and the leadership is handled by other member of the team. And I remember I was part of another team where the manager was like, okay, we had to do everything that he said in that moment. But before doing the things, everyone went to, to talk with the leader, the real leader of the team, to say, what do you think about that? Should we do that? Because at the end we are a team, so it's our work. So everyone is going to say you have done that as a team. It's not your manager who has done that. So I think it's important if you want to develop, not thinking about our managers or bosses, think about ourselves. What I want to achieve, my personal vision statement. I want to be a good professional, or I want to achieve my goal, but I want to be a leader. Okay, so let's start learning from these experiences to understand how to deal with these things and how to be a good leader. So thank you, Chantanil, for saying this, because you made me think about how is the learning from this opinion.
There was someone trying to say something a moment ago. Please go ahead. Hey, Manpreet, go.
So like I would like to add a point that usually when we are beginning out our careers and we start to work for like startups, the people out there think let's exploit this, people they want to learn and we want to get their work done, our work done. So, but I feel I was a little lucky at a point when a startup was just started and I had went for an intern and I was given a task to just debug a code, and it took me a while to understand. So what my manager did was he said that let's go on a walk and talk what is actually happening, why you're not able to do it. So we went on a walk and he actually told me how things work, what I need to focus in, where I was going wrong, and he personally took out time to tell me, and I could do that just in 2 days after that. So it I think it also how your like the mindset of the people they have grown in a company, so they can like some managers might have got managers who are very bossy to them, so they thought now let's also do that. So in that way I think sometimes things pass on this way. Maybe they might have not of that nature, but they they had this anger inside them to take the revenge. So sometimes things might happen in that way. But yeah, I think me currently working, we have like one-to-one sessions with our manager, and he gives like a proper detail what you had work, what you have to work on, are you stuck anywhere, you want to schedule a call with someone. So I think talking one-to-one helps if you are like somewhere in doubt.
Yeah, that's very correct actually. Because as far as I've seen, like if you want any of your junior to work on your project or in the company once the person has joined newly to the organization, it's very much important that you give the proper induction if you want the proper output. Right? Because if you don't give that, then obviously the person will keep on wandering somewhere else, and the expected output won't come, and time will just get wasted. And at the end, what happens is everyone start blaming the developer. That's a common trend which we have seen at most places. So it's very much important that you should be on the right track from the beginning. At once or twice, if they guide you, that's very fine. But the third time, you'll be able to do it independently. Then that will be the real learning, and real confidence will come at that time. So that's very much correct.
I want to just add a really quick thing. By the way, really appreciate how all of you are sharing. If we dial up and think high level about what's being said, we all have things modeled for us. And sometimes we fall into aligning with a bad model. And it's important to stop and ask ourselves, wait a minute, I've had people treat me this way that were in this function many times. Is that the best way? Now, I've been really fortunate to have some good models too. And it really takes some active concentration. If we focus too much on the bad things that we've seen, we inadvertently, we unintentionally start to act that way. And we don't want to do that. So we have to actually force ourselves to think about the good models we've seen. And in some cases, we even have to imagine a better model. And even if you're not good at it at first, try to do the better model. And just like a reinforced learning agent, yeah, you'll make some mistakes, but you're exploring, you're trying, and you will get better. And so a spirit of just remember that all of this sharing is super good, but let's remember, don't copy the bad modeling, copy the good modeling.
Like adding to your point, I feel most of us have gone through this, like in colleges, how our seniors treat us. And then we think that when our juniors come, we'll treat them the same way because I got treated in the same way. But then it's how you get like the feedback from your juniors and you try to see, okay, we can change and help them more. What I could not get, I should help them. And that's why how you grow. And there, like in our college, being from a non-tech background, I had faced instances where like people will be jealous of what you are doing. People will take everything to bring you down. People will mock you at every step, and but if like it will break you at a point. But if you take it up and you really like doing what you are doing, so it at a point it would not affect you. So it's also one of the things that I have learned in college, that there will be people that always try to bring you down. They'll be jealous of you, but what is important, feedback you are taking, take that feedback, else ignore and move ahead. They don't matter now in your life.
Yeah, at and every places will get such people, and it's like the first people will troll you, and then when you are successful, they'll ask how you did you do it. So this line is very much important, I feel, because I have experienced in every stage of my life till now, and it happens
Now,
at every moment.
sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. I think this is right now for this word. In fact, Manpreet, she said something. It's really surprised me. Break you, okay? Who this one who is able to break me? I don't think there is not anybody able to break me personally, and every one of you. Because if you have your personal vision statement, if you have your long-term plan, you will follow your plan.
But then you get
Okay. No
no,
need.
no.
Yes, Manpreet, I agree. I agree with you totally. I understand you, but this is why I have to highlight this point. Okay, because I think we have to think like this. We are not evaluating each other at the end. We are not judging each other. So if somebody wants to be on that place, even if he is jealous, there is a lot of reason for hate, or there is a lot of reason for bad feelings or for bad acting. But at the end, when we have, this is the importance of the previous session, and thanks for Giovanna for that. When you have our plan clear for in our mind, we are able to change it, but nobody is able to break us, because at the end we have a target and we want to follow. Okay, this is I think it's very important point. This is will give us the shield that we need. Okay, some other thing also from Manpreet, I get it right now. It's about when you are able to discuss with the team leader. Right now I'm not going to use the manager, because right now the manager is the bad person here during our discussion. Not always the bad person, but okay, I will go for the team leader. Okay, when you are able to discuss what sometimes preventing us from this discussion, and this is, in fact, it's very important. Sometimes we only shy. We don't want him to know that, okay, this point or this information we don't know. I think 50% of knowledge is to be able to express your, let's say, the need of experience on one point. You are passing 50% of learning when you are able to ask. So most of the time, especially on the professional environment, we will be shy because, okay, either it will affect me for my job, either it will affect me between the team member. So I'm unable to ask. I will be shy to ask. And this is something is, I think it's very important to, here we are doing the bad to ourselves. We are not waiting anybody to do the bad to us. It's not the no, it's not the manager, it's not the team leader. We are, let's say, controlling our improvement. We are seizing our improvement. So I think this is also something we have to take care about it. And I would like to listen from you about this, especially Tom. I think he has something to tell us on this because previously we discussed about it previously.
Yeah, I just want to add to Guy, that was excellent. Thank you so much, Guy, for sharing. Is that I have to say that all these experiences that at the end made me be better. Why? Because maybe if everything, it would be like nice, the best place where to work, maybe I still be there, working there, and maybe I was protected with this amazing atmosphere, and maybe I couldn't achieve the things that I have achieved now. So I have to say that all these situations made me grow inside and maybe be better. So I think life give you all these situations to make you grow for other opportunities that are waiting for you, that you need to be stronger. So it's not we need to see the positive side here, and the positive side is that all the things are learnings for us. So don't feel bad if this happened. So at the end, it depends on us. We are the ones that we have to make decision about our future.
And I would like to add something. Are you hearing me? Hello, my name is Zaina. I want to add something that generally we focus only on the fact that this affected me or didn't affect me. Maybe the other person is not conscious that he said it badly. For sure, a manager or even a colleague can be against what we are doing. And this is it, what is about teamwork. We can't always be right. We can't always be wrong. So he can tell you, no, I don't think it's a good idea. And we just need, I think it's our right to ask why. And maybe when he explains it, maybe you are going to say, maybe he said it wrongly. Maybe he didn't take the time to reformulate what he's saying in a good way. But I think he's right in some manner, and I think I should use this to improve or use another technique or another thing. This is how I am talking about. And sometimes because we are afraid to lose our job or afraid to be wrongly judged, we don't defend ourselves. And like this, we will lose respect to ourselves. And here I am talking about people that have been patient and have been controlling their feelings until the day we hear them suiciding. And I think suicidal especially for the software engineers all over the world is getting bigger and bigger because they are just expecting a lot from us, like if we are just genius people and we are not defending ourselves and we are putting too much pressure on ourselves and we are not discussing about it, we are not opening about it because he's not like they are not putting themselves in our shoes for us always also. So I think discussion would solve this. And I think by respect even to ourselves, we won't like when I tell respect yourself or defend yourself, not reply to him in the same wrong way, but try to understand the person in front of you and try to communicate what you are feeling and how you are seeing things. And I think discussion can solve this kind of problems. And also, I repeat that each one of us is different. We are not the same. We are so different. So our way of talking or our way of expressing a no or expressing a yes, expressing an agreement or a disagreement can differ really from a person to another. And especially now we are talking a very good word of people working together from different cultural backgrounds, and from one culture to another already the form of yeses and nos and the form of expressing ourselves differ. What is right in one culture is very, very, very like not good in another culture. And I think this is very important for me, for example, and I relate to this very much. I think that, for example, for me as an expert in France, when I first came, there was a lot of cultural gap, and people would react normally, but I see it as very bad. And once I was open about it and I was discussing about it, I thought like it I understood a lot of things that would hurt me before, but now they are good. And also the manager, I think he's in the process of learning, like each worker is the process of learning. And whenever we interact with him and let him know how we are seeing things, I think he's going to learn as well, and maybe he's going to improve as well. But however, for people that don't want to improve and want to stay in their boxes, this is the bad peer, or the bad manager, or the bad superior, you can call it like you want. Like this, I think it's not very healthy to stay and work in such environment. And I think we should just make the step. It's risky, especially in these circumstances of pandemic. It's so risky to quit a job, but it's better to quit a job and try to get your time and find another job, better than staying in a toxic environment just because you are afraid. Yeah, this is how I'm seeing things. Thank you. I'm going to
Zena,
mute myself.
Zena, that was really beautiful. Thank you for that. And I want to point out, if we take, like, for example, what Zena was saying, and we take the wisdom that our dear Giovanna gave us last week, these are opportunities. Like, Zena, I heard you challenging yourself. What's my vision? What am I focused on in my life, in my career? And those are opportunities to refine our vision statement, so that what I heard you saying, Zena, is let's learn from every circumstance and benefit from it, even if it's ugly. And I applaud that. That is the right spirit. Yes. Is there someone that's been trying to talk that hasn't had a chance yet? And by the way, everyone's doing great interacting. Thank you for it. Sai.
Could you like share a real life experience, where you had faced a good and a bad thing both, or how you had encountered anything like that?
I'm sorry, Manpreet, was that a question to me?
Zena.
Can you repeat your question, please?
Yeah.
I'm like, have you encountered anything in real life in such scenario where something good had happened and bad also, and how you reacted? How was it a great learning for you? What do you take away?
I think I have been in front of this situation since when I was a child. I grew up in a culture where the elderly need always to be respected, and what they are saying is always right. And because they have enough experience and they are just bigger than you in experience and in age, so you don't need to discuss what they are saying. And it was normal life till when I was in college. I got a little of a personality and I started discussing. I'm talking about, for example, my parents. I started discussing with them and saying why each time they would give me orders. And like this, we opened a lot of discussion and I'm feeling closer to them. So we became like more friends than superiors. And I found it was just magnificent. And after that, also when I was in college with professors, generally when we hear a professor, he would make a mistake, we won't tell him, sir, I think you had that mistake. So, and you don't dare to tell this to a professor. We would say, trying to discuss with person that to whom we owe a lot of respect is always difficult, but we need to make the step. And I think it depends really on the person in front of you, but it's a process of learning. And I'm still learning this, by the way. And even I'm freshly graduate, I'm starting work 1 month ago, 1 month and a half ago, and always I'm in front of people that are with much more experienced than me, but I'm not ashamed each time to tell them what I think and how I'm seeing things. And yeah, we are in a process of learning. And I think, right, I had once a discussion with Raif, and Raif told me something that I think I'm going to decorate my house with it. In another day, and he told me, please think once you discuss with someone or you go to a place that you are going to enrich that place. You are going to learn from them and you are going to enrich the environment. So I think discussion is the key of anything, wherever the person that is in front of you. So yeah, it's a process of learning from each other.
Just one little thing, guys, to add to that really great explanation by Zena is something that's been stressed to me over and over. Lead with questions. Questions show that you care to understand first before being understood. Questions are a gentle way of making sure you do disagree first before you say anything, because it might be even by your questions that the other person realizes, oh, that's not what I was trying to say. Thank you for asking for clarification. By the way, Sai, we are eager to hear from you now because, we have little collisions sometimes. So please share with us.
Uh, Firstly, I'm one of the youngest, I would say, of all of you. I'm a sophomore in a college. So I don't have that experience, or I don't have what you have experienced. And you're speaking of managers and all, it's going out of my head. I'm like, I don't know anything. But in India, I got an opportunity after my 10th. I went to, there's an exam called JE in India. It is very famous. So I went for the preparation for that. There I learned a lot of things. My first year, I literally, as Manpreet, I'm Manpreet Didi, I would say, she told regarding the facing of the problem. So I also faced that problem. But afterwards, especially of my personality wasn't such a super popular or not. I was a tummy and I had the cheeks and all. So they used to tease me. But later on, I understood one thing that I am here. So they are enjoying themselves, or I'm making them laugh, making them smile because I am there. So I realized that I should also answer them in a more humorous way. And I realized that in answering them in a more humorous way, that sense of humor became a very really good weapon to tackle everything. Because if anything happens, I used to answer them in a very humorous way, and we used to enjoy. And then in that way, I also was able to become many friends. I would say, like a lot of friends today they are, and I realized that this humor or this sense of humor is something is everyone should possess, and it's a great thing to deal with any situation you're facing with, maybe worse or good. I
I
hope,
think
just correct me if I'm wrong.
one thing I would want to add. I think it's a great point made by Sai, and even I faced a very similar thing when I was in college. I mean, I am currently working since 2 years, but while I was in college, I mean, in my first year, I was a very shy person. I mean, I didn't talk much, and people, exactly what you pointed out, that people used to make fun of me either of my physical appearance or any other thing. But with time, I overcame it, and with time, I came to know. I learned how to answer them, and then that became my weapon. And now when I see them, when I look back at them, they are way below than me. I mean, I'm not saying that I've achieved a lot, but at least when I look back at them, they are still at the same place. They're mocking at people, but they haven't learned from it. So I think learning from that process teaches a lot to you, and also makes your personality better, and also teaches you how to tackle these situations when people are making fun of you, but you are actually learning from them and growing every day. So that's a great attitude.
Cheyenne, this is very important. Previously, I was a discussion with a friend, and the point was about what you are going to do if your suggestion or your solution or whatever the point that you are doing is not understood. So at the end, I start from the end of that answer. I told them the most important is my point of view. I have to understand that if I'm correct, then I have to fight for this correct. If I'm wrong, I have to learn from this wrong. And with this mentality, there is no bad experience here. Even if it's bad experience, at the end, when you have in your mind that you are going to learn from it, and then you are going to enhance yourself, you enhance your knowledge, your experience, not only about the data science. This is very important, that you are going to learn. And let's just keep it, let's say, reflected to the deep learning. For example, you are unable to train a model if you have one positive label data only. You are unable to train it at the end. It will not be trained. For example, if something classification model, binary classification, but all the samples that you have is positive, it's one, it will not be trained. So you need these challenges, and we need these challenges, all of us. But it's how to receive it. It's the most important. That's why we are always talking about the others. Yeah, okay, right now, back again to ourselves, how we are receiving these challenges and how we are dealing with it. I think it's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
again, I
continue.
agree. Very nice point. So anyone, yeah. So yeah, every experience should be like a learning, as you were saying. You should take it very positively, and that's why I was in the starting when I said, whenever anyone is telling you something, you take some time, you think about it, and whatever step you are doing, take it as a learning. So maybe the suggestions that he is giving or someone is giving to you, how it is, take it as a learning. Maybe what you are thinking of any implementation, it may be very good, but it may take some more time. And as you know, time is money for a company. So these things you will learn as you grow in the company. And I think you should take all the steps positively and as a learning activity step, and it will be a good experience, as Tom also mentioned in the chat.
Guys, this
Uh,
is all so
yes.
good. I'll just say briefly, I hope y'all just, the things that are really touching your minds and hearts, jot them down and use them to refine your vision statement, your personal vision statement. Please go on. Who was going to?
I actually agree with what Sai said. So, yeah, as per his experience, he said that when he joined some program, the seniors used to rag him. But uh, this same thing has happened to me in my college, but I didn't realize it soon. And later on, when I realized that they're not doing that, they're not doing this thing from their heart. It's just like for fun, they're doing this thing. So we need to take this as a fun part. And later on, what I realized is those are the people who have helped me a lot in my the later stages of the college. And so, and when it comes even to the teamwork manager level, even if your manager is rude or anything, before trying to reply him, was just we have to think once and we have to keep ourselves, put ourselves in his scenario. Like, what if there may be something like some sensitive issues or etc., which made him react him like that, which made him to react like that. So before telling anything or before replying anything, we need to once think and do the task. And also, whenever we are doing something, just we need to ask some questions. So I read somewhere that asking questions is the best way to excel yourself. because your teammate is doing something and you got a new idea. So if you don't ask with him, we don't know whether it is true or false, because they are experienced than us. They have been seeing these type of scenarios from before. So if we ask them the questions, if they think we are right, that will help others. And if what we think is wrong, so he will guide us, or he will tell us what we did wrong in the strategy. So if we ask like this, we will try to think in that way possible. Or if we don't ask this, our mind will always think in that strategy, which may go wrong sometimes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted to invite Tim. Yeah, Tim,
Yeah, I was
I
about to
want.
say, thanks, Gio. I just wanted to say, like, I loved what everyone just said, and I definitely agree that it comes down to us and our personal vision statement and how we see ourselves and view our own experience. And it's important that we do question um, everything, even if someone has more experience with us. You are bringing your own different perspective to the table, and even though you might be early on in your career, you still have a right to be there. They hired you, and so you are going to do that and question leadership as it comes. And also what Sai said about having a humorous personality and stuff. There's a time and place for jokes, I think, but especially in the workplace environment. But you do want to have a positive outlook, because I don't think a lot of people want to work with someone who's going to think negatively in a different situation if they're challenged in some ways. So it's definitely important to have that positive aspect when you go into a situation, and to have a smile on your face when you're going about questioning something or just doing your job. And so definitely love and want to emphasize what Zena, Arshad, Sai just said, because that really struck with me, and how important that is in the workplace, especially when you're starting off.
I had a
Yes.
question to ask.
Yeah. Yeah, Manpreet, go ahead.
Like I have just started to work, so I wanted to ask: is there like sometimes with you, people have happened that you give an idea to your manager and you suggest something, but initially they say it's not going good, but then you see that idea is getting developed and he's taking credit, and like Tim, that is for you. Like you and Tom both are working together, so how well do you get along? Like, is there something when you both clash, or how do you discuss it out as colleague and maintain your professional and outside the professional this environment? How do you maintain all this?
So, Manpreet, so welcome to office politics. So this is a major office politics topic that
Right.
you're talking about. So this really happens every time. So your work, your superiors take credit to, and it goes in the senior management is that it is your managers or your superiors work. So this is a very common thing. So in this scenario, okay, if you one thing is the learning, you in your brain that your idea it clicked and it was a good idea, but to get credit for it, it's very tough. Then it is tough because you have to you have to fight it out with your manager, and it can happen if you slowly bring your credibility. That senior manager who is there, who your manager took credit for, and he knows he has taken in a meeting, in an open house meeting, when there's a big presentation, when there is a meeting, you can voice out these things, you can talk, but you cannot directly because at the end your manager will tell it's a team's effort. So this for this scenario you have to really think very when you are if you want to take such credit, it's a very delicate and very delicate situation, because we have faced this a lot personally in India, in Indian setup. This really happens. uh, but you take it as a learning, and whenever you get opportunity to talk to senior management, you voice out, you give ideas, you talk in all the meetings that are there. And so it happens. And in your appraisal meetings, when it is happening, you can always tell to your superior who about this, that my idea, I had talked to you about this idea and this got implemented. So you can get appraisal points there as well. But taking credit on the whole for the whole system in the start is very tough, this according to me.
Yeah, and
And
it's like
just I want, sorry, Alok,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, it's like no, most often thing what Arshad said, and it's really true. And but it takes really hard to get someone who truly leads you in the right direction, and that's the most important thing. And if you get such person, you are really very lucky. Who when you get a person to who guides you properly and brings out the best in you, that's a true sign of the leader. So let it be a senior software engineer or just a team lead or a manager or anyone, but you need that person to get that kind of kick in your career. So that at that point your real growth starts. But just for the politics and all that stuff is present everywhere. So it's just like some stones in your path, and you just kick it out and it goes aside, and you are just free to walk on your path. So that's what I want to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, Alex, the same thing. Like, it's the difference between being a manager and a leader. Like, a leader would, if especially with your contribution, a leader will recognize that and put you at the center stage and share the team's accomplishment. And so I think you're not always going to find that in some places, but a good leader will raise up their team and want to see that everyone does well and is recognized for their contributions.
I want to say something. By the way, the first time I faced this scenario, Manpreet, I resigned. Okay, but then I discovered this is not the case. I want to say it in another way. First of all, I don't know this company that all the senior is devils. So, and the higher level, so he's the higher level of devil. So no issues. Okay, this place is not here in the world. Okay, maybe your direct manager or your airline manager will be bad person and he tried to get that credit. But don't forget one thing: if it's really good idea or it's really good achievement, you already have the credit by yourself because you know that you did it. Okay, this place, this working place is not the final working place. It's not your destiny. Okay, but your idea and your work, your hard work is your destiny, really. So this is the first point. The second point, it's about the management model. There is a lot of people, a lot of companies, they are dealing with the management just like the hierarchy. So you have to follow the hierarchy each time. But there is some other companies, and it depends more on the size of the company. They have this kind of a flat management. And by the way, Steve Jobs, he was pretending that he claimed that his company, Apple, is the biggest flat company in the world or the biggest startup in the world. Okay, he was telling us this. I don't know. I wasn't working there. But when this management model, the flat management, is happened, I think there is a chance to everybody to get his credit. Now, let's say when I was a developer, I'm still a developer, but when I was working as a developer in one company, and really I faced this kind of management that they trying to get the credit for some ideas. I told the first time I resigned, the second time I add these ideas to my long-term, let's say, plan. And at the end, I create products from these ideas. This is the first point. This is personally what I did. The second point is when I was a manager, I was in love with the employee that trying to fight for his ideas. I like this person because he's clear. Because you have to understand one point: the manager is not on safe place. So if he is able to build the trust with his team, that's great. And this is what I try to do. So the person who is really clear with me and he was telling me, but this is better, and this is what we have to do. This is really, I appreciate this person. Okay. Now, as a manager, let's say when I was a software manager, software development manager, the most important point is you are facing this, but at the end, this is not the end of the world. And, and the most important is one day this manager might be changed and his senior, the one he is above him, he will check who is really able to do all the job related to him. Or there is some other, let's say, circumstances will appear and then your idea it will appear. So don't take it that much personal. It's very personal, but as I told you, the credit is you in the beginning because you find the idea and you have it in your career and you'll make the achievement really. Now he get the credit now. This is will never happen for that forever. Okay, this is the life. We have to accept it, but we have to manage it in correct way.
Real quick, I want to point out Valerie put something very valuable in our comments in our chat. I have been reading a book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. We may not be able to make huge 100% changes in our lives, ourselves, our jobs, I'm going to add our situations, but we can make small changes. 1% changes to improve our situation. What is the difference, for example, between 212 degrees and 211 degrees when it comes to water? 1% water boils at 212 degrees, but not at 211 degrees. That small 1% makes a difference. And I think that is the spirit of what we're talking about here. All these experiences are just little micro chapters in our lives. And I love what Rafe was emphasizing earlier. We get to use every one of those as a lesson. And he's trying to point out, and Rafe, I've done similar big mistakes in my past. He could have learned from that, but he abandoned ship. And then the next time he thought, no, it's just going to chase me. If I don't deal with it here, I won't learn to deal with it at all. So I noticed we were all muted. Who would like to share?
I would like to agree with Gabe, what he said, because if we develop the habit of suggesting things, and we should not feel bad at the very first moment or at the part of the career, because if we try and suggest few things later on, and if it's us who are going to benefit in the future, because when we get and when we are in a situation where we are the only one to decide the things or which is the correct path,
I want to ask
I
another
guess
question. So
that thing
everybody
hurts. No? Anyways, someone else tell me.
Vikram, please continue.
Oh, that's so it's I just want to tell it's important to inculcate the habit of suggesting, because at one point or some other point it is a thing which helps us, because I have seen a scenario with my friend. At first he suggested something, but his leader, his team leader, the person, he just ignored the thing. So he just he's tried two times, three times, four times, but the team leader continuously ignored him. Later on, so the guy, my friend, has stopped suggesting or has stopped thinking in that way. But the recent times he was in the same scenarios where he has to do something right or wrong. So he finally did the wrong thing because he is not thinking in that way, or he has just stopped it. So just ask things and share your thought with others, even if it is good or wrong. Good or that's it.
Thank you for that, Vikram.
I have an experience that I did few months ago when I still doing my internship, and I don't know if it was like the good thing to do, but or not. But since you are here, maybe I should share this. Back in time, I was doing my internship, and I showed my supervisor an idea of solving the way. And you know, in internships, and this is very bad thing, I think, in all internships, they would show us the problem and they would show us the steps to solve the problem, and even the techniques that we would use, etc. So I think this is a very bad way of doing things. Maybe it's going to let them gain a lot of time. It's going to take less time, but it prepares workers to have the mentality of executors, not of creators or problem solvers. And I think they would prepare them to the mentality of accepting what would your superior tell you to do, and what are you going to just, you are going to execute the tasks that are taught. And I always have this kind of mind that I don't want to only do what is told to me. I want to discuss each time what is told to me. And I was reading, so I told him, I think I am going to change the methodology of this internship, and I am going to do it this way. And my superior was so angry, and he was telling me, when we signed the contract of the internship, you were supposed to do so. And I was like, okay, I am going to do what you are telling me to do. And during the evenings, the mornings, I would do what he wanted me to do. And the evening, I would do what I wanted to do. And after that, I showed him both results. And the results of the evening work was better. And he told me that I think and he was so surprising, his reaction. He was telling me sorry, and I really thank you for trying your best to do both works at the same time. But if I come back to time, and another person would tell me an idea, and even though I think it's irrational, I would give him a chance. And I think even though the person that is in front of you want you to be an executor, and you are obliged to do it, just don't kill your thoughts. It means that maybe you would put too much efforts, maybe you would work the evenings, but at least you won't kill your the ability of thinking. And I think it's one of the things that we are all afraid of, to come to a day when we just become executors and just do what others would tell us to do, and do the methodology and the way of thinking of others, and we will be just like robots copying, pasting the methodologies of others. So I don't know for me, I did more effort, and I wanted to prove them wrong. I don't know, what would you do if you were in my place? Maybe the thing like the results would be different. Maybe I would lose a lot of time and lose my internship and do things wrong. But yeah, how would you do it? And I'm so curious to know.
If I've heard you correctly, I've got some ideas, and I find this to be a recurring theme, but I'm really hoping some others will jump in on this too, and not leave what I'm going to say in solo. So I think we always win when we start with care. Just really care about your company, the people you work with, your role, how you can help others in their roles, how you can contribute. But this next piece is what I really stink at, and I'm trying to get better at. I would say I'm not a perfectionist, but pretty darn close. And it can be really stifling. And but if you just say, first of all, seek really carefully to understand, and start contributing along what you understood, but show them this is crap, but I want to show you where I'm working toward to help you. And then you're getting more frequent feedback. You remember we started this whole meeting this morning with the example of a control system. control systems become unstable when they don't get frequent enough measurements on the actual state. And a lot of times in our jobs, our actual state is not necessarily what we think of our work, but what the other people think of our work. And if we're getting feedback frequently, we're getting the best understanding we can about what at least our counterparts see as their needs. And so we can work towards addressing those needs. But Zena, after some time of really focusing on solving what they think's the biggest need, and they see you delivering on that, it probably will turn around to where they want to ask, what do you think we should work on next? Just some thoughts. I'm eager to hear from others.
Yeah, I think it's like the process of building confidence in the person in front of you. And I think we all need to, the confidence is not something that is trivial and we give confidence like easily, especially in making very very decisive like decisions. It's not always easy in a company. And I think the way that you're trying different things is just going in the process of learning, but also in the process of gaining the confidence of others. That's how they would tell you, so what do you think? What would be the next steps? Instead of telling you, here, there are the next steps, yeah.
Zena, I think also it's important to notice one thing. It's his situation. For example, you make great example that you spend more time to show your idea and at the end you show it. But let's say not each and every intern student is able to do the same. So at the end, he as a boss or as a manager or someone has to lead you. He has to lead you on the minimum expectation. Now the confidence is something you get. It's not granted to you. So that's why you have to work harder to show and to gain this confidence. So if we put ourselves on his shoes, we can find that really he really has to do that. Okay, I have this experience and I have this target to meet, so I want to achieve it. I don't want to make any risk right now. So if you want to do this, you have to convince me. And to convince me from your time, not from my time. This is how he's thinking, because he has stressed enough. He's stressed enough. Okay. So I think also we have to understand this point. It's really important. Now, maybe he wasn't also able to share this point in a nice way. This is not a problem. But at the end, trust or confidence is something you have to get. It's not granted to you. Nobody will grant you this.
And I think in most of the cases, maybe this is sad to tell, but I'm really convinced that even outside of the professional context, even in the personal context, like we always need to do efforts to gain confidence, and other people also to gain our confidence. They need to put some effort. So I think it's so normal to have this phase of proving what you are capable of. Maybe these people know your value, but in order to gain their confidence and give you more space to make decisions, you need to do some efforts to prove what you can do. And maybe they would know more about you. I don't know. I think it's in the first phase. I call it as the integration phase to any workspace or anything. People are getting to know you. People don't know anything about you. They don't know what are your skills, what are the things that you are good on, what are the things that lacks you, etc. And I think this process, during these processes, you need to put too much efforts. I don't know. This is and I think it's normal, but I don't know.
Real quick thought, Zena, just a quick thought. If we borrow from one of the greatest pieces of wisdom from our age. And you all realize I'm speaking about the movie Iron Man 1. It's a joke, right? But seriously, there's this great meme in that movie where Tony Stark is selling weapons to some country in the Middle East. And he was talking about, well, do you want respect or fear? And he says, is it too much to ask for both? And he spreads his arms and the Jericho missiles go off in the distance and explode everything. Well, Zena, you're this bright, brilliant young woman. Is it too much to ask for both? Take those small steps to gain confidence working on what other people think are important. And I may not have heard you correctly, but hopefully this is still helpful. But also in the evenings, have your own, like we historically call in the US, your own skunk works, meaning it's a secret project where you're gonna, and you might even find an internal champion. You could just say, I'm working on this on my own time at home in the evenings. I want to show it to you. Just secretly show it to people and see if you can get someone excited about it. Then that way you've got dual paths. It's just a thought though.
Yeah, Tom. Yeah, I really agree to you. And the one thing that like I wanted to add to Zina's point also, and anyone who's like starting up their career. So what this manager or the team lead asks you to do, maybe initially we need to do it accurately, correctly, and the codes should be perfect, understandable. The whatever output you're giving should be 100% accurate according to you, and the codes should be perfect, and that will build your credibility. What task you're given initially, you do it well, then your credibility is getting built. If your codes and your outputs have error initially, then the credibility and trust factor is gone. And whatever new things you talk to him and tell him, he will never agree to it. So the first step is get your outputs that you're giving correct. Take time, do multiple checks for your code, and then make sure whatever your output you're giving to your superiors is correct. Because this I have seen some this if there is an error, and whatever you say, whatever big thoughts you have, it will never be heard. So, and as Tom said, it's small steps. You have to, and this is a long journey. And every journey, you have to be very careful. And because errors in data science specifically, errors have no place. Any output you give, if it is wrong, if there is an extra value, and your manager sees it and the client sees it, it is you are going to be penalized, because these are small basic sanity factors that you have to make sure in data science field to do more better work. So these things you have to be, I know it is very boring, but you have to do it. You have to build your credibility, and every output that goes out of from your side has to be checked twice, thrice. But if there is an error, then your credibility is really lost. And after that, it's very tough to build it back.
I think we have the right to do mistakes. We are not perfect. So our product, I have never seen like even a person with 100 years of experience. I've never seen someone doing a perfect job. And even with a lot of experience, we have the right to make mistakes. Making mistakes in a product doesn't mean that we are bad data scientists or bad software engineers. It means that we are in the process of learning. And I think you took the best domain to talk about this, especially I think there are a lot of data scientists here. Data science is a field that is growing on a daily basis. So we have techniques. You just wake up the other morning, you are going to find another version of this technique or another article about this field. So we are always in the process of learning. And how do we learn? By making mistakes. So I don't think that making mistakes makes us lose in credibility. Yes, we are going to put the best of us. We are going to put a lot of efforts, and this is normal since we are working in a field that we are passionate about. Surely we put the best of us,
Oh, can I
but
just add to that, Zina?
we can
So
have the right to
I'll
make
just add,
mistakes.
no, I'll
Yeah, go
add
for
to
it. Sorry.
yeah, sorry. No. I understand what you're telling is learning, mistakes happen. That is the research work. In research, you're trying to build something. You may have some error. That is fine. That is a learning phase. But anything that you deliver from your end, you deliver, suppose I'm talking in the data science framework where you give some report, you give some analysis, you send out an analysis after you do your complete check, your complete QC, you email out or you share it to your supervisor. That I'm telling should be error free. What you are sending it, the final version, maybe if you have doubts, as a data scientist, you have to discuss with your superiors that I think something is going on, can you help me? But before you send out to someone that this is the final version from my side, I'm talking about delivery, not research work, not learning, not new products. I'm talking about delivery and your reports, any
Can
analysis
I
that you
join?
deliver.
Can I join the discussion?
Yeah,
I
sure.
also want to.
I will. I will. Just I want to tell you, Arshad, you are correct, and Zena are correct. Now, um, it's important to be error-free. I agree with that, but don't forget, in the software development lifecycle, you have multiple testing phases. And this has happened because you are unable to be 100% error-free. And especially if you are the creator of the model or the software piece. And even when you are talking about the data science, it's the same. At the end, we are writing code. So the same, you are able to run it in the correct way because you know how you create it. To detect the error, it will be the responsibility of the QA testers and on all these tests. But this is how Zena is correct. But let's say how you are correct. You have to do your best. And the most important is you have to be
Yeah.
professional when you are in the production level. You have to be professional. Don't promise that I will be, or don't take it as arrogant person that, okay, I'm sure I'm correct. No. When you have a task, just evaluate your knowledge to this task. How much learning is you need, and even if it's important to reject it because you are unable to take it on the time, reject it. If you are able to ask for more time from the beginning, tell them I will need more time. One day we had a discussion about what the professionalism means. So one person was telling, okay, I have to be as quick as possible. So our CEO at that, our director at that time, he was a very nice person. Told them, I don't want you to be quick. I don't want to go fast. I want to be correct. How to be correct? That you have to understand this task. It's need learning process and include your learning process on the time. And tell me, even if I need it within 15 days, tell me I need 3 months because of this, and I will respect you more. So this is how Arshad is correct. Your the expectation, your let's say your planning has to meet the expectation because you know where are you. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't overfit yourself. Okay, this is important. But for sure, you will have mistakes. You will have some errors, some bugs. It will appear, and this is why it's important to have full QA. Let's say have full life cycle for the projects. Now, the last point on this I want to do is it's it's able to have mistake on the product, but not on the production. Now, this is very dangerous. The production to go to the client with errors, this is disaster. This is disaster for the company, not for yourself. So that's why also it's important to, even if you have a small team, to consider all the steps for testing and deployment and retesting and then to go to production. It's very important to have it, full of it. Even if you have a small team and if you are stressed enough, but don't go to the client without real testing. So this is how Zena is correct, and this is how Arshad is correct.
So the one point
And like,
I wanted to add one point here, yeah. So what I was trying to tell, my message was the tasks that you're given, your supervisor will give you a particular task, like to get some numbers. So I'm talking about those tasks for our analytics projects that we generally have, some bivariate analysis or some chart. They will ask us your as an output from you. And when you are doing that work and you are sending an email at the end of the day, please, this is my output. This is the graph, this is the numbers. And you are sending it to him as a final, after doing your QC and everything. And that type of work that you are sending as a final version, that I was trying to tell, it should be at least from your end, you should be sure that it is correct. Because if it is wrong, even if there is a small mistake and you have sent that mail that this is the final version, your manager will find out there is error, and he will point out to you, and in his head he will think that this person is not doing proper QC, he is rushing, and it will break that credibility, the chain of credibility when you build initially. So that was my message. And I understand all your steps, guy, that you said production and all is very important. That I understand. Errors will happen. That is a life cycle. But I was talking about building credibility from a task-oriented way initially, so that you build more credibility and you can do more work. The manager will listen to you, and that's how you will grow as a thing. So your basics should be right. The basic, because whenever you join as a company, you will be getting small tasks. No one will give you the whole project. You will be getting small tasks, and the task you should be 100%. You should give you 100%, and you should give good results, and then you will build. So when you do the basic things right, then only you will be getting the intermediate level work, then your advanced level work, and then you can do a lot of things. So that was my message that I was trying to give to Zina. I hope you got it.
Like,
I think you're
also,
right. Yeah.
like also adding to like Arshad's point, it could be like how much efforts you put as a person while you are assigned a project. And when I initially started to work, I used to write a long piece of code, and now I know how to create functions and make it very, very small using libraries. So this is all the process that you learn. So if your manager sees that how much effort you are putting in to get the results, like I was working on fetching data from API, and I did some manual work, but then he shared with me, you did it right, but if you could use these things and give it a read, maybe you can make it more optimized. So your efforts also make a difference to your manager about your work. Until if you give up, okay, I don't know, how will I do this, is I did, I can't do anything about it. So he would be also like that, okay, I'll not assign any ticket or any work or any project to him because he's being this way. I'll assign only what he knows or what she knows. So I think your efforts, your enthusiasm to learn, and ask him also, is there something interesting that you're working on you can share, or maybe we as a team should know about. So it all helps everyone to grow.
I was just catching up on the great chat stream, and I'm going to read Valerie's thing out loud again here. Using a basic framework like scientific method can sometimes help in presenting or explaining your work. This is a very basic outline, and more detailed ones can be found online. Ask a question or address a problem. Research the question or problem. Create a hypothesis. Conduct experiments, collect and analyze data, draw conclusions. There's wisdom all around us, especially from the past. Let's always try to integrate it into our tool sets and our practice.
We would like to listen to her as well now.
So Valerie, in case you can't tell, everybody wants to hear from you, but if you want to remain chat, oh, great.
Okay, I'm sorry, my voice is not too good today, but thank you very much. It's very, very nice to be here. Thank you. Yeah, just my point about scientific method, and I was thinking as I was listening to all of you, I'm old school. I've gone through traditional IT, and I learned to be a database administrator, my boss said to me, when you start this process, he said, I want you to write everything down. And I had a steno notepad, and I did what he said. I wrote down every single step. And when I got to the end of building the databases, and he said to me, good, now you have a standard operating procedure. So now you're going to keep refining it as you go through this. And, but keep building on this. You have a good place to start. And I think that it's really important, especially if we are calling ourselves data scientists, or this is a science. In traditional science, scientific method is the cornerstone. And so I think I don't know that business people want to know all of the various details of what you're going through, but I do think they want to know, did you go through an organized set of processes? How did you come to this conclusion? What happened? And I think if you document these things and, over time, you can improve on that, and you can have something. Because one thing I'm not clear about, what I've heard even in data science, is it's like there seems to be a development, maybe a test, and I don't know how much stuff gets put in production. But in traditional IT, everything is supposed to go to production. And if you're putting something in production, it's got to work. And you want to have something to refer back to. God forbid something does not go right. What steps did you do? What happened? Where might have these errors have occurred? So I just think that if you've got a framework, if you have a structure to work from that's organized, and you keep those good notes, it's going to really help especially when you are putting things in production. So just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, our methodologies become well. By the way, out this way, I have a shop. I love it that I have a shop. It needs to be more organized, but I have a more important shop up here and here. And these meetings are about giving each other tools to operate better in life and in our jobs and everywhere. And I hope that the beautiful things we learn in data science, will conceptualize them well enough to where we can apply them to our lives, but also think about why data science progresses. It's because we get really good at copying biological systems and the way biological components work. And so I love what Valerie's sharing. It's a way for us to say, look at the brilliance around you and start implementing it. And back to your earlier point on atomic habits, Valerie, don't expect to be perfect. Just like your great manager, he sounded like a great leader, told you, hey, you've got a method in hand. It's working. Now improve upon it over time. It's so beautiful, but we get to pull in wisdom from multiple areas by conceptualizing it and laying it over on different areas. Just one other quick point. The reason I love reinforced learning so much is it challenges me personally. I watch my stupid little virtual agent use math to figure out, oh, I don't have all the data I need, but I've got some data, so I'll improve my policy based on that little bit of data. Now I'll go do some more work. Oh, I've gained some new data with this new policy, and I'm still not as good as I should be, so I'll update my policy again. And it's amazing, by doing that, it converges onto an optimal policy. And what I hear Valerie sharing with us is, you don't have to get there all at once. I mean, the sum total of everything Valerie's sharing is start with some processes that are proven, do your best, and then refine from there. And that's so beautiful. Thank you, Valerie. We are coming up on 2 hours, and I think we should, let's see, there's my brother. Rafe, should we just maybe stop recording and then we can keep going? What do you think we should do logistically?
No issues. Now, no, I think if we pass the 2 hours, we have to stop the meeting. We have to stop this link.
Oh, right. We have to even stop at 2 hour point. Okay.
Yes. I also, one thing I want to mention here, it's something maybe it will help everybody. If you use the register right now, Tom, you are sending the link directly to everyone, and this is great, no issues about that. But if you use the registration page and then you answer the survey, you will have a chance to get 50% discount on Coursera courses. So this is something I think it will be helpful. This is something for me when I make the discussion with deeplearning.ai, I told them I don't want even to mention the event on your page. I just want to be our sponsor. So they told me no, we will add it to our event page. We will do the same for any other event, even if it's in weekly basis. So this is a chance for anybody who want to have some courses from deeplearning.ai to get this discount. So if you want, it will be very nice for all of us to register for the next week. For example, we will mention the registration page. To register, then you will get the chance for this. And then I think I don't have to speak about. I don't have to speak more about this because just only as information for everyone. I don't want to. It's not a promotion. It's information. Just okay. So just for you, Tom.
Just real quick, and this really kind of dovetails in well with what Valerie was teaching us this morning. There's a stewardship committee to this. I wouldn't even call it a leadership committee. The leadership is just, we want more together. We want to grow together. That's why we're doing this. But the stewards are myself and Rafe and Giovanna, Manpreet and Tina. We're open to ideas because we're here to serve each other. And so I want you to know, so far we've just kind of let this grow and develop organically, but it's starting to get pretty well defined. And so we'll get better at doing, like, for example, what Rafe was just saying, but we certainly could benefit from your suggestions. Send them to any of us. And then also, you notice we've done a little bit of advertising for this, but I don't want it to grow too fast while we're figuring out what we're doing. And I think we're pretty well settled on what we do. My fear, though, is as we get bigger, I want there to be a mode. Let's say 100 people showed up one time. We've got to start to think about how to best manage that. And I want everyone to feel like they're cared about and listened to. So if we start to get over 40 people, that could be challenging. And we need to learn to be considerate to all in that situation. So just be thinking about us, praying for us to have wisdom on how to best do this. And but I think it's meeting some real needs too. So thank you for that.
Just shall I add one thing? Like, I feel that everybody who are present here are very well experienced and they have experience which I haven't experienced. But I just want to add one thing. I would say we should all enjoy ourselves, like, because at the end of the day, what matters is that we had a sound sleep or not, or we enjoyed ourselves or not. And that's it. We all, you really explain everything of learning, mistakes, especially starting with the control systems, and then followed by a great example of that paper by Gio and also Harshad, everybody, Manpreet, Didi, and everybody who are here. They really explained everything, but this is something which I thought it was missing, and thank you.
Excellent. That's so great to hear. Gio's going to say something. Oh, were you? Oh, okay. That's all right. I thought you were. Well, guys, I think this is a good sign-off time. Please keep the discussions going, on LinkedIn. By the way, if someone wants to take the initiative to start someone take a screenshot for us while I'm talking. if someone wants to take the initiative to take the names here and start a discussion group on LinkedIn messaging, that would be awesome. Now, let me point out to you too, that's a great way to say, I have a post, will you guys go support it? Why is that important? Because we don't all see each other's streams. I don't care to know all of the algorithm stuff with LinkedIn, but I suspect one of the things that happens is the mega posters take up the stream feed sometimes, and you don't see the feeds from your friends that don't get as many likes yet. So please, I want you to let me know when you have a post that you would like me to support. And I will be honest with you. I always tell people, support this if you can, meaning you may not want to support it. That's okay. But at least I like to know about it. So, because most of you post really good stuff and I want to support it. So if someone starts a chat group, then we can support each other's posts that way too. Thank you, Alec. Alec's going to start the discussion group. So good luck capturing all the names. And then,
yeah, I've taken a couple of screenshots from the start to end, and I'll try to pull out the people from that. So,
and then whoever took a good screenshot, and it may be several, please send it to Alec on LinkedIn messaging. That way he can reshare it.
yeah.
All right, guys, have fun living and learning, and don't beat yourselves up. Be gentle and patient with yourselves. And man, I really love all you guys. I hope we see each other again soon.